All right, we are live with.
Ramiro Diamond Petrasa.
And you played?
A Morphage Endymion Pendulum.
Fantastic. And you're from?
I am from the University of Washington in Seattle. I am originally from the Florida area, but I play and live in Seattle.
Fantastic. Well, let's go on ahead and see what you played today.
Okay,
getting
perfect.
second place in our intercollegiate.
Yeah. So first of all, this is a Morphage Pendulum. So the most important, what I consider the most important part of this deck is the Morphages. Three Morphage Sloth and 2 Morphage Lechery. These cards are really good because they're Floodgate Pendulum cards that completely stun your opponent. In this format, I think every factor has just a line, so that these cards can be really, really good. The only card that effectively outs this first game is Gizmek, these two come really, really handy when games 1, 2, and 3. Games 1, it helps stun opponents when they're trying to do their plays. It usually ends the duel pretty quickly. And games 2 and 3, it's very, very good against most side deck cards that people play this format. People have been playing a lot of Super Poly. People have been playing a lot of Dark. People have been playing a decent amount of Dark Ruler, and people have been playing cards like Instant Fusion, Mind Control, and this stuns all of those cards, and it also blocks out miscellaneous things like random striker matchups, the mirror. That's why I think that Pendulum should focus on these going forward. The second, I played a fatter Mythical Beast package than most people play. I played 3 Master Cerberus, 3 Jackal, the Garuda, and the Baby Jackal. Most people have been cutting these cards. Most people have been doing away with the Master Cerberus, maybe playing just 1 or 2 Jackal, and none of these cards at all. So the reason that I play this really fat lineup is because in my deck, 4 can be considered a low scale because most of my Pendulum summons just consist of Jackals and Daemons and Sloths, which means that getting ashed on the Cerberus, for example, usually doesn't matter. As long as I have an extender, as long as I can get you Electromite, this is really, really good ash bait. Because it usually means that your servants go live. It usually means that your Spellpower Masteries go live. So that's why I think this card is perfect at 3-4 deck. These are just the monster negates. You want to see them in your hand so you can Pendulum summon them as many copies as possible. You want to see them in your hand so you can combo with the other 2 when you search them off Cerberus. This one is really good because it helps you make Jackal before you get to Jackal before you get to Electromite. That's really important in this format because of Nibiru, the Primal Being. Most of the time they'll try to Nibiru your Pendulum summon, and if you have this out first, that usually means that they can't Nibiru at all. I have never had a Nibiru resolve on me, and I think that a large part of that is because of this card. And if you manage to get to it before Electromite, it also stops almost every hand trap besides Impermanence. It stops Baylor, stops Ogre, stops random things like Gamma, and this specifically, this serves a double purpose. This is main deck spell and trap hate, which is really, really strong in this format in Pendulum, because a lot of the times you'll see decks that have just one spell and trap destruction when they open subpar boards. Like for example, sometimes Salamangreat will open just Aurora Rage, sometimes Orcus will just open just a Crescendo. Getting to this helps you break subpar boards and sometimes steal games that you shouldn't when you go second. Going first, it's also really, really good for 2 reasons. It's really good because it's a level 4 that's going to come up later, and it's also really, really good because it has the effect. It has a little hand trap effect where you can summon it to balance the summon. And most people usually aren't expecting that because you usually want to hold this in your hand. And when it goes off, especially when they're trying to something like a Gizmek to out these, it usually will end the game from there. Like for example, I use it sometimes against really rogue matchups like BA when they summon Block Dragon from hand. I'll bounce it to hand, and that usually ends their turn. Against other matchups like the Mirror, you can bounce their Pendulum summon, their entire Pendulum summon to their hand, which will usually guarantee victory.
Nice.
For my extender lineup, I played 3 Chronograph and 3 Abyss Actor Current Razor. You might notice that I am not playing Dark Worm or any Guard Dragon combos. The reason for that is twofold. First of all, the Guard Dragon combo is especially vulnerable to hand traps, and I think that Salamangreat is going to be a very, very common matchup no matter where you go. So that means that playing Guard Dragon just gives them more options on what to hit, and that's usually not something that you want to do when you already have a pretty bad Salamangreat matchup. That's why I think that people should explore non-Dark Worm builds. And also, getting Ash on Dragon Shrine hurts really, really bad because this deck usually needs four good cards to function because you need 2 cards to make Electromite, you need 2 cards to rescales. That means that if you lose a card, like if you hard lose a card to Ash, and you have 4 cards on your hand, they all need to be live, or else one more hand trap will end the game automatically. That's why I think that Dragon Shrine is kind of subpar. This is really good because it's a level 4 where Dark Worm would instead be, this is just really, really good. Because it has no condition. You just have to have the Time Gazer to hand your deck, and it combos very, very well with these. It helps you again make that play where you summon Jackal before Electromite in order to protect your plays. I also played the Brick for the Time Gazer. Very small Magician lineup. 1 Harma, 1 Purple Poison. The Magicians right now, they're kind of in an iffy spot because going first, they don't really do much. You usually just normal summon them to make Electromite. The only really good payoff for Magicians is Pendulum Call, which again just makes you more vulnerable to hand traps. So this I don't think this is entirely necessary. I just wanted it to have better access to Dweller, which is the reason why I also played which is also part of the reason why I play a pretty hefty level 4 lineup. I play the Garuda, I play the Current Razor. Because against a lot of matchups this format, Dweller is really good. Against a lot of decks, it's really the only thing that you can do to effectively stun their play. Especially against like decks like Orcus, especially against like decks like BA. They usually have like a lot of outing power, but Dweller can't be outed because it's just letting them condition play entire time. Last but certainly not least, the Endymion lineup. I played 3 Servant, 2 Magister, and 3 Endymion. The Servant is pretty much the main way to get to Jackal to get to Jackal Electromite. The Magister is really good when you're trying to make boards with Dweller, because Magister has a unique interaction when you have like a really loaded extra deck. Because if you have, let's say, 2 life scale, let's say you have 2 life scales and 2 life scales, Magister. Life scales, a Magister, and 2 level 4s in your extra deck. Usually in your Pendulum Summon, you want to Pendulum Summon a Jackal, but what you can do instead is you have something like this: is you can Pendulum Summon the 2, make a Dweller. And then you can use this, summon anything from your extra deck, and then you can use this card's effect to go into another interruption. So this card basically guarantees that you have 2 negates to back up the Dweller, which will usually steal the game against graveyard based decks. I did play the 3 Mastery. I think this card is necessary when you're playing Endymion. I played 3 Citadel and 1 Terraforming. I do personally think this is a mistake because going back to that statement I made where I was explaining why it's really bad to have less than 4 Pendulum cards in your hand. Drawing 2 of this in your opening hand will mean that you have 3, which usually means that you can't really play accurately. What I was trying to do before the tournament was I was trying to get to a field spell lineup of 2 Citadel, Terraforming Stat Rotation, and Oracle of Zephyro for any level 4 Zephyro, because that way you have toolboxing power with the Terraforming and the Stat Rotation, where you can either make the Terraforming or the Stat Rotation be like either a Pendulum monster or this for the spell counter plays. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it before the event, so that's why I ended up playing this battle lineup. But going forward, that's how I would go. And now, last for the power spells, 3 Desires, 1 Upstart. Desires is really good against this, like in this deck. Again, going back to that statement about getting 4 Pendulum cards, because this this makes it so that you have 6 cards in your hand going first, which means that it's usually really hard to hand trap you if this resolves. This deck doesn't care at all about the banishing, because this deck plays multiple copies of every card. There's no like Garnet besides the Time Gazer, and even then when you banish the Time Gazer, you usually have plays. So if you're playing a Pendulum deck without 3 Desires, I recommend that you reconsider all your options, because this card is an absolute must in Pendulum, especially going forward. The Upstart, this is the 41st card, but it gains counter activation, so it's play. Now for the extra deck, the Electromite. This is basically the only card that you regularly make. You usually don't go into your extra deck a whole lot besides making a Dweller. This is a card that sets up your Pendulum Summon. It loads you up with the other Morphage piece when you're trying to get to Electric Lock. It loads you up with the level 4 when you're trying to get to Dweller. It loads you up with anything that you need. 2 Link 2s for the grind game. These are usually for what you go to when you're trying like past turn 2, turn 3, especially when they get rid of your Electromite. Because that way you can set up a bigger pendulum summon from your extra deck, and then try to summon to these 2 zones to make a Boral Sword or Borload for game. This is decent spot removal, especially against a lot of floodgates. I did play the Metaltron. I didn't go into this a whole lot. It was just kind of the 15th card. I played 4 Link 4s. Appaloosa, Boral Sword, Borload, and Avermax. Appaloosa is used to just like further cement Magister boards. It's kind of fragile, this format, especially because there's like a lot of Cyber Dragons going around. There's a lot of like mind controls going around. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but when a lot of the times just getting to the zones is good. So I would recommend playing it if you have it. Borload is usually just used to out things that have protection effects. Usually things like an Ingirsu. Sometimes when your opponent fails a Borload OTK, you steal the Borload and then make the OTK yourself. The Boral Sword is I think besides Dweller and Electromite the third most card that I use. It's really good when you set up the Morphage lock, and then on your turn you pop Sloth with Electromite. That way you can make this Pendulum Summon back to Sloth as backup play, and then go for the game. This I use sometimes to protect Sloth, especially for people that I know are assigning Pankratops, because it helps redirect and establish a board when you're trying to when you're afraid of something that can out multiple floodgates. I played this, didn't make it. I just used it to I just use it sometimes when I need spot removal against second BA decks with my Endymions. This is for the Cyber Dragon matchup. Really good. I did use it once today to break a board. Recommend it. This is an alternative to Dweller for backer decks. I never summoned this once. It doesn't really come up a whole lot. This was good in theory for reinforced Boral Sword case. Didn't make it. This is sometimes used when you're using harmonizing to summon Time Gazer. Never made it either. Side deck. 3 Cosmic. This is used when going second to Al Crescendo mostly. It's also getting a Striker because sometimes they sign in a Floodgate. 3 No Material. This is the best card right now against most Orcus decks, especially when Mermaid's still legal. I played this card because I was especially afraid of Lunar Orcus because they play around hand traps very well. But when you summon because the reason they play around hand traps is because they go into Azathoth. But this usually if they try to make an Azathoth play, you can just Gnome the Nyarla, and that will stop their turn, which will let you take game pretty quickly. 3 Denko. This is the safety policy for Altergeist, Striker, and other rogue like control decks like Paley and Grid Control. It's not. This is usually the card that lets you OTK against them going second, and this is the card. This is my favorite siding card because it is the one that wins the game most often. 3 Pankratops. This card is really good against Floodgate decks like Draco. Striker sometimes when they sign in there can only be 1.
Does common Pankratops only Destroy a common.
That's what I've heard. I have not been able to. I have not targeted. I have not targeted a secret rare copy with it yet. But I will get. I will find out at a later date.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I played 2 Imp and 1 Dweller, one Baylor. I couldn't get the 3rd Imp. If I could, that's what this would be. This was just because it's the hardest hand trap to stop. You can't, as a thought it, you can't call by grave it. So if I had the 3rd, I would play it, but I don't.
Well, any shout-outs or any like last-minute changes, thoughts on the deck?
Yeah, shout out to my local card store, Card Exchange. They have some great singles. They're great people. If you're in the Seattle area, definitely go check them out. Shout out to my team at the University of Washington: Henry, Griffin, Roger, Nathan, Jordan, and Charlie. They helped me make this deck what it is, and they're generally great people to enjoy the game with. Shout out to Team Samurai X1 because this deck is heavily based on a deck file that he made with Yassine Sali back I think when Endymion first came out. I saw it and I thought this deck would be really good for this format, so I changed the ratios around a little bit and played what was mostly his list.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much.